Tip number 1 is on managing lots of folders and track stacks in your project, which I really am a fan of, since you can see here it doesn't take up much room now since everything is inside folders and track stacks. So for example, here you can see my percussion folder, and then I have track stacks inside it. So you can actually have track stacks inside a folder, but not a track stack within another track stack. So I created a folder track stack, and then I created these track stacks, summing stacks, and drag them inside this folder. Now, instead of doing it like this and opening everything up one by one, my tip is to open up everything quickly and efficiently by holding down the Option key and clicking on any one of these folders here. Watch what happens. It folds up everything, every single track, which might be cool. Also, if you open up the mixer, you will see everything inside each group. Now, the next thing is, how do you get back? Well, the same thing. Hold down the Option key and click this, and every single folder and track stack falls down again. So that is tip number 1. Tip number 2 is to manage lots and lots of tracks within your project, especially if you start from a big template, which I do, which means obviously that you will not use every single track. So let's go into the orchestra track stack. As you can see, I have strings, cellos here. I'm not using this. Second violins, solo instruments, no woodwinds, no solo brass here. So why would I have to need to see all of these tracks? That means I need to scroll around a lot. Well, the good thing is that you can actually, there is a key command you can assign to hide all tracks that does not have a region on it. So I have mapped it to on my numpad, this weird sign here above letter or number 7. If I click this now, watch what happens. Yep, it apparently for some reason it thinks, oh, it's because I'm selected that track. So again, now every track I see has a region on it, which means I probably reduced the project visual area by more than 50% or whatever. So basically, there are 2 commands that you need to assign. First, let's open up these again, by the way. First, you need to assign to hide all unused tracks, which I have done, as you can see. And then the next one is to, of course, get back all tracks, because let's say you want now to add a recording to one of these tracks. Well, I have used the same key but added the Option key to it, and now everything is back. So you simply go into the key commands editor here, and then I recommend that you search for empty, and then you will see hide all empty tracks. This is the key I have assigned to it. And you will not find the getting back command here, so search for hide, and then you see here hide all empty tracks. That is the key I have assigned. And then unhide all tracks, which is shift and that key. I don't even know what it's called. Above number 7 on the numpad keyboard. Alright, so that is tip number 2. Now, tip number 3 is actually what I have done up here, which I showed you, which is to use folders and then track stacks inside them to clean up your project area. So you simply make a track like this, create track stack, make a folder stack. Now that is a folder. I recommend for folders to use the folder icon. And then while you are in here, you can create from this track a track stack that is a summing stack. So you cannot have a folder within a folder, sadly, but you can have summing stacks within a folder. So now that is a summing stack, and if I click up here to duplicate this, you can see that I have now several summing stacks within these folders. So, for example, in this case, if we delete that, I have chosen to have one main percussion folder, and within it I have drums, which is acoustic drum kits or electronic drum kits, percussion, which is basically orchestral percussion, wordle percussion, ethnic percussion, and then effects, which is booms, drones, risers, and so on. I have all that within one folder instead of having them separated, because I want to keep my product area clean and efficient. Tip 4 is to freeze all tracks in your project at the same time, which I always do before I start mixing and mastering to reduce the CPU load. So instead of going into each track and selecting the freeze icon, like so, you simply select all your folders and track stacks, basically all your tracks, then open one of them up, like this one here, and then now when I click the snowflake here to freeze, as you saw here, everything that is selected also mimicked this. Well, this is empty, so that is not frozen, but everything that has something on it is now frozen. And now when I click spacebar, this will start to render out. As you can see, it renders every track to be frozen, which means that all tracks will be played back as audio, and that will be amazing for when you actually mix and master your tracks to avoid clicks and pops and crackles in the sound. So this takes a while now because it renders out every single track in the project. And once that is complete, the drawback, of course, of freezing is that now I cannot go in and do any changes to it because it says the track is frozen. However, as I said, this is great for mixing and mastering. So when you get in here, start to add effects on the channel chain and the master output, it will be much easier for your computer to handle. And tip 5 is to organize your parts with the colors according to the specific track. So this track actually has a color, but you can't see it here because I removed the color bar. But if I go into the mixer, you can see this is orange. Well, when you record a new part on this track, it will be orange. But the downside can be if you want to, for example, move or copy from one track to another, which you, of course, do a lot with layering and such. So let's say if we open up, if we take this here, for example, now that is frozen. If we copy that and then go here to this, now this is red and it also says lows. It should say brass riff and be orange. Well, you simply hold down Shift, Option, and then click N, the number N, or the character N, and it changed for name, by the way, and it changed the name to the track, and then you click Shift, Option again, and C for the color. So, now this is labeled as the track in question, and has the same color as the track here. Subscribe now and watch a lot more videos on composing music, producing music, sound design, Logic Pro X and much more. I'll see you in the next video, my friends.